Well, hello, everybody. Hey, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. And it is, I just had my brain went blank. Today in this video, we're doing a live and we are going to be working on the Brightly Sampler quilt. So that's what I was doing. Yes, very exciting. Very exciting. Okay. This is our 10th week. Y'all, we are halfway through. This is our halfway point. I see some of you mentioned that you started late, and that's okay. That's just fine. You can jump in, you can catch up. The nice thing about this quilt is that we are doing 5 different blocks 4 times. So once you get your mojo on, your sojo going with the 1 block, then just make 3 more. And then you're good, right? You can just keep going from there. So yeah, you caught 2 lives, Angie. Glad you are here. Hey, Betty Boop, how's it going? How's it going? Very, very chilly, Elizabeth. Yes, we have a chilly, chilly day in South Texas. So, okay, let's look at the progress so far. I'm sorry, my light bar is in the way there. But there are the 9 blocks. And today, the one we're making is the mosaic squares. And that's this one right here. Okay. So we're going to do that. And you're not behind. Just start, Carol, just start going. Just start going. Just do 15 minutes. That's all you need to do is 15 minutes, whether you get started cutting or whatever it is you want to do. So I love you too, Glenna. You guys are so much fun. So here's what we're looking for on this quilt. This quilt block, we are making a square and a square. So this is an old traditional block, square and a square. So here's the main square, okay? And then when you change out the 4 corners, you're going to get a square in a square. And then we want to get our squares together, our little points to meet. So we're going to be nesting seams here in the middle, okay, and doing these points where they all match up. And somebody had made a mention they weren't a real fan of the block because it didn't have any background fabric in the 4 corners. Well, I used the lighter fabric in the middle and didn't think of that myself. That is from Shirley Scott. She's in our Facebook group. Let me put this back. And Shirley came up with a layout that I just loved, and I asked her permission if it was okay to copy. And she said, absolutely. So let's talk about where we're at with this. This is the Family Favorites book by Sherry and Chelsea. This is actually a pretty easy block as blocks go. So it's a nice one to finish up the end of kind of the second set of 5, right? So there are a lot of quilts in this book, but I'm doing the Brightly Sampler. And a sampler is a bunch of different traditionally pieced blocks. So on my blog, powertoolswiththread.com, you can find the post for the Brightly Sampler. And here's the layout from Shirley Scott. And she used the strawberry lemonade line from Sherry and Chelsea, just like I did. And this is her layout, and I loved it. So this is what my quilt will look like as well. I haven't seen her cornerstones, but I think I can live with that. And then there is also a schedule, and we're a little off schedule today because I was traveling on Monday, but normally we do this on Mondays at 9 a.m., okay? And we're going to go all the way through the middle of May. May 12th is finishing and binding. So there we go. I may not do the binding, but it'll be ready for the long arm for sure, right? But I might go ahead and get it on the long arm and get it going. We shall see. So I've got a no live show on April 28th. I'm going to be gone. If I remember correctly, I'm going to be gone. But other than that, we're just doing the same blocks one after another, over and over, and just 1 block a week. So you should be able to kind of catch up if you feel like you're behind. You're doing Laguna Sunrise, Linda. That's a beautiful line too. Sherry also mentioned on her blog that she just got her pre-cuts in for raspberry lemonade. So I'm excited to see that. That's going to be pretty. All right, so this is the block we are doing. It is on page 14 right here. Okay, and of this book, and I'm just going to pop it on the little book stand and get it going. I think I got a pretty good idea of what's going on. These are my easy stacks. Okay, and I've got all 4 of the blocks pre-cut. So I'm just going to grab the next one and get it ready to go. I'm going to pull these out. All right, and this is pretty simple. I don't think I need the book. I don't think so. All right. So I've got all of my blocks all cut and ready to go in here with these together. This particular Yazzie bag that I have them in is called a fold over pouch, and it's not very expensive at all. It'll hold 4 or 5 trays. And I put the batting on these trays. If you're interested in these, they are in my Amazon shop, and it's just an easy way to keep everything all together. Okay. You got one done yesterday. It is challenging, Patty, to match the points. Absolutely. But the more you practice, the better quilter you will be. Speaking of which, we were cutting on this blocks this morning in the situation room, and I got to show you guys, I'm very pleased with it. Turned out just perfect first time. Didn't that come out beautiful, beautiful? This is for the things above quilt kit. I did end up pressing these seams open on the back just for those 2 final seams. And I'm very, very pleased with how this turned out. So I had my sew gel going, so I just went ahead and stitched this one up. And as I said earlier, the goal is to do 2 of these blocks a week so that I can, kind of keep the motion going forward on this particular quilt right here. All right, that one goes down there. So thank you, Patty. All righty, so let's get going on the mosaic squares. So everything's already cut, and I've got 4. I've got these light colored backgrounds, all 4 of those. I need to press them out and get these smoothed out again. I think it's just A and B are the cuts for this one. So the A is I think the A's were these. I'm not sure. These are all the same size. Okay. And then the B was these squares right here, or vice versa. Again, I'm not looking at the book. I'm going to wing it. Gonna wing it. The block is pretty straightforward. If you're a brand new quilter, I'm going to go through very slowly the process and concept behind how I create a square and a square. And this is the same process you will use when you make flying geese blocks, square and a square, snowball, corners, anything that has the sew and flip method. Okay. So as we go forward, this background fabric right here, since we are sewing these squares to the background fabric, this is what we'll call the base shape. Okay. So I'm going to maintain the integrity of the base shape. And what that means is no matter how much fabric I sew on it, I want it to remain the exact same size that it is now, just with different fabrics. So maintain the integrity means to maintain the shape as it is. So we're going to maintain the integrity of the base shape. You'll hear me say that over and over. That's a thing that when you get it in your mind and you start quilting, you can really, really get some accurate piecing going on, because you want to make sure that nothing comes out wonky. So the first thing I'm going to do is get marking on all of my background squares right here, not background, these squares right here. And I'm going to sneeze is what I'm going to do. So I'm on the back of each square. Okay. I'm going to take a ruler, and you can kind of look and see if you want a fussy cut. Okay. You can certainly do that. If I look here, there's not a lot of print right there, but it has pretty print right here. So this will probably be the side that I want to cut off. You can determine that as you go for each block. So this one has pretty, and it's maybe not right there. Okay. So I'm going to put a ruler corner to corner. And it's not sent. Matter of fact, I'll use a regular ruler so you guys can see. Do I have a straight one? I do. Okay. Where's my glasses? I had them here. I cleaned them. I cleaned my glasses and now they're MIA. They're over on my desk. 1 second, y'all. Hold on. I don't want to go through this whole thing blurry. That's not fun. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Poor planning. My apologies. All right. So I'm going to take this ruler and I'm going to, on the diagonal, all right, I'm going to take the ruler and put it corner to corner. If you're making this quilt with me, I encourage you to put this on in your sewing room and just start setting out your fabrics, getting stuff going while we're chatting about it. It's a good motivator to get moving, okay? So the ruler is covering half of this square. Let me get in so you guys can see. The ruler is covering the back half, right? Okay. So this is the side that's going to be cut off. So I'm going to take my pen. I'm going to put a little marker there. You can use a pencil. I don't recommend a Sharpie. Hey, Dave, glad to see you. Yeah, I know the struggle's real, right? This is a friction fine liner marker. I don't recommend the pens because they ghost. So this is it. Where in Tennessee is my mom? She is in Camden. So because the ruler is corner to corner, okay, then the line is not. The line is right next to corner. Does that make sense? The ruler's corner to corner, so the line is right next to it. And what that means is that one of these triangles is larger than the other one. And it's this one right here is larger. So that's why that one has the mark. The ruler was hanging over this, so it's always really easy to remember which one to mark. Mark the one that's hanging out on the side. Because this is going to be your sew line. You're going to sew right on that line. Because the line is right next to corner, when you go to fold this over, you're going to have enough room in the fold for it to actually fold over and meet the corner and maintain the integrity of the base shape. And that little bit of room in there in the garment sewing industry is called turn of cloth. Okay. Oh, you're about an hour away. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Okay. So I'm going to do this to all of my little blocks here. Put the ruler corner to corner. Let me back you out so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, you drive through Camden? Okay. Yeah. Boy, that's a real peach of a town, huh? All right. Right there. And it's really simple to just do all of these. Okay. Once you get going, you can just kind of knock them out pretty quick. And let's see. Do this. All right. You can pay attention to, the cutting off of things if you want. It doesn't matter. Or keeping certain sides, whatever you want to do. And when I quilt, I like to do the same motion all at once. Okay. So the motion I'm doing right now is, which ones do I want to save? I want to save the white. The motion I'm just going through right now is fabric marking. Okay. So it's easier to do it all at once and do everything for the whole block at one time because your tools are already out. Okay. And this is part of assembly line sewing that just makes your life so much easier. I'm not going to pay attention to that. That'll drive me crazy if I start looking at that, the design. So, because it's going to be beautiful no matter what. So instead of doing one block, marking all the squares for one block and then sewing them and then going back and doing that again for another block, I am just doing this for all blocks at one time. And that's the most efficient way to sew. I got little strawberries on here for strawberry lemonade. How cute. How cute. Okay. You got a large pile of cut off triangles. I am going to sew an additional line on these. I've started doing that because I want to make those little magnets from Corey Yoder, and they're little quilted magnets. So I want to make those, and I want to use the half square triangles. I thought that would be cute to have little piece, because they got to be 2.5 inch squares, and I can certainly do that with these. And what I'm talking about there is I'm going to sew on this line, and then I could actually take it 1/2 inch over like this and sew here. That's really what I should do. So then what I'm going to have is a little half square triangle right here on this end. I should actually do that on all these. I didn't think about it. Great stuff. Yeah, great stuff. Lots of fun here, you guys. We have a really good time. Very productive for quilting. Getting stuff done. So this is my sew line for my half square triangle. I'll move it over 1/2 inch. There. And that's just going to give me a half square triangle right out the gate. I've got a whole little pile of them there in the inside that Yazzie bag. So I know these prints are so pretty. I know they just make you happy, don't they? Just happy, happy. I love Sherry and Chelsea's design style. Okay. It just doesn't take that much longer to create a secondary square that's already sewn. Just doesn't take that much longer at all. If you need them. If you don't need them, don't bother with it. You know, and if you're going to toss the fabric that you're cutting away, don't feel guilty about that. There's nothing wrong with that. I know some people have kittens. They clutch their pearls and they're like, oh, y'all don't have to do that. Yeah, the magnets for retreat friends. Those are a great little gift, right? I was thinking about that too. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do some magnets. We will do some magnets for sure. Now, Corey Yoder has a video out on it of how to do them for quilters. I'm going to do them as an embroiderer. So be sure to tune in tomorrow to the Stitchuation Room. You're going to see, I think. Okay. All right, here's the last one. That's my sew line and an extra 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's good. I'll put this back here. All right. Boy, wasn't that exciting. Hello from Japan. Hi, glad you're here today. So what I do, Japan, is I, on Mondays, normally on Mondays, we do the Brightly Sampler Sew Along and Quilt Along. That's what this is. But I was on the road on Monday, so I couldn't sew. So that's why we're a little off today. Okay, so let me look at my picture. I don't think it matters what fabric goes with what square, but just to make sure I don't mess it up, I'm going to try to get these. Okay. So on my Mosaic squares, let's see. Where are we at? So we've already done, which ones are we doing? Okay, so this one I show these yellows on this one right here. Okay, so this one has the yellows going with the large background print. Okay, that kind of funny color there. All right, and the little bitty print here, maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. I think I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay, There's only 2 blocks that have the yellow, and one of them has orange, and I don't have orange on this one. So I'm looking at the right block. Okay. Let's see. Get these correct. Not that it makes a hill of beans. I'm just saying these go with this one. I'll put the green with this one and the red with that one, and we're good. Okay, so now I'm ready to go. Now, remember I told you at the beginning, maintain the integrity of the base shape, right? Whoa. Don't be falling over, iron. I don't need that. So what I'm going to do is right here on my thing, we're going to sew in opposite corners. And because I marked each one of these and it has the little mark to tell me which piece is going to be cut off, I'm going to align that with the little mark to the outside. And I'm going to line up these edges of the block right here. And I'm going to sew it. Okay. And I'm going to do all 4 of these at one time. Okay. This is the easiest way to get this done. I'm going to sew on the line. I've got a 2.5-inch stitch length. Once you get the first one figured out, it's pretty simple. Okay. All righty. Now, what I mean, again, by maintain the integrity of the base shape, I want to make sure that I can't see any green hanging out over the point on this. Am I at the wrong place? I'm at the wrong place. Wrong camera. Wrong camera. I want to make sure I can't see any green hanging out right there. And I want to make sure I don't see any white hanging out over here. Okay. You don't want that. See how that you can see the white and you can see the green? Not good. You want to make sure that they're exact. And that's how you get pretty points. Maintain the integrity of the base shape, just like that. Okay. And I'm going to stitch on the line. Okay. And the next one. And you can get through all 4 blocks fairly quickly doing it this way, instead of doing 1 block at a time. I don't know if I'm going to sew those other ones like that or not. I might just cut them off and say to heck with it and sew them later. I don't know. I don't want to take up your time either. Let's see here. Okay, so there's all 4, right? I'm going to run it through again. I am going to do it. I'm going to run it through again 1/2 inch away. Okay. To create a secondary block. Whoa. Okay, about right there is good enough. Doesn't have to be exact. Just have to have enough for seam allowance on both sides. All right, and now I'm going to do the opposite corner. Okay, pretty easy. And I can tell, because I have a mark on the fabric, which corner goes, and it matters because you're going to sew on that line you made. Okay. People ask me all the time, how do you sew? How do you get so much done so quickly? I do it by assembly line sewing. Okay. Touch the fabric as few times as possible. Do the same motion as few times as possible. That's the most efficient way to do it. We're on opposite corners here. Put the side with the piece with the mark, the side with the mark to the outside. So you don't even need pins for this. Pretty simple. And the last one. That pink? Yeah. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go through and do, you've never seen the secondary block? Yeah, that's a real common thing with quilters. They'll do that. Okay. I'm going to do this next one here. Just run another line of stitching. And you can make loads of half square triangles, especially with this quilt. This quilt uses a lot of, will leave you a lot of additional fabric. Okay. All right. So I'm ready to trim these apart. Again, I'm only using one pair of scissors at a time. Okay. Efficiency of motion. I'm going to use my snips first. They're just easier to cut these little threads. Now, I'm pretty savvy with these scissors. If you don't have super sharp scissors. Okay, so now I'm going to cut between those two lines of stitching. Okay. These Guggenheims are extremely sharp and they work great. So that's just an easier way. Now you need to do these on the diagonal so that this is what these are opposite one another, not right next to one another. If you do them right next to one another, you won't get that, your good 1/4 inch seam. Okay. And if you want to see this block again, there is another video. The first one we did, and I didn't do this method. I actually am doing this a little bit different. And then I would go to the ironing board all at one time. And I think I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to do my little iron right here. I'm going to go to the ironing board. I'll take you guys with me because it's just so much easier because these are larger squares. Now my little half square triangles are going to just hang out in a pile and wait for me to get those. They need to be pressed and squared. So these are all ready for a whole nother project. And this is the result. That pretty right there. How nice, huh? Just need to square them up. Okay, so let's go over to the ironing station. And I'm going to take these with me. Okay. And bring you with me too. We'll just turn a little bit. And there we go. Yay! And a sip of coffee. And I've got this long presser bar here. So I can do 2 at a time. Just press them open and use my thumb to press them. I hope this is motivating you to get some stitching done and some piecing. So you see what I do? I do the same thing all at one time. It's just so efficient and quick. It doesn't have to take forever. I'm getting ready to do that gingerbread house for vintage Christmas. Oh boy. That's going to take some time and piecing. And I really didn't want to do it in my motorhome because I don't like piecing on that machine. Okay, so let's look at these blocks. Because we maintain the integrity of the base shape, I've got a straight line right here. There's not a jinky jank, as I said, that you don't have a gap right there. Okay, you want that to be a straight line right here. It shouldn't be hanging out or over. That's what you're after. Okay, And that turned out beautiful, both of these. Dave, I was thinking of you about that plane that flipped in Canada. And I said, Lord have mercy. They said they were hanging upside down like bats. And kudos to the crew for just keeping their heads level. And you fly for Delta, don't you? Or is it United? I thought about you. I was like, oh my word, I would have a fit. You on there? Yeah, work smarter, not harder. That's right. Okay. All right. So, I mean, we're halfway finished with the 4 blocks already. And I've taken time because I've been talking through it. And now we're ready to do the other sides. Okay. Okay. What are the measurements of my ironing station? Bernadette, I know that it's wide enough to hold 1 yard of fabric, okay, and a fat quarter laid out. That's what I did that. So you haven't cut the block out yet. Try not to get overwhelmed. Yeah, Ginger Texan, you don't need to get overwhelmed. Just one baby steps, right? Little bit at a time. No big deal. Just take a little bit every day. The best thing to do, set your watch or a timer for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I like 20. Sit down and stitch. That's all you need to do. And over the course of a week, you'll get over an hour worth of sewing done. So don't get overwhelmed, right? Just a little bit at a time. That's how I do it. I keep all my stuff, you know, set in individual little bags. And then every day I try to do a little bit. Of course, it helps having y'all here. You keep me honest, keep me going. All right, we're ready to go. I've been so productive since I started this channel. Well, I'm just glad nobody was hurt. They said a child was hurt, and I bet you that child was on a lap. So make that steampunk bird. Oh my gosh, I don't know, y'all. What do I need? Pink. I generally try not to talk about current events, but I thought about Dave with that airplane. Well, Becky, just you've got the book and the fabric. Okay. Well, just get cutting. Got to get to cutting. Get that started. Well, hello, Frito. She comes wandering in here. Now, on this one, when I lay it out, it doesn't necessarily want to lay exactly straight with its partner, but I'm going to make it do it. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that these edges are even. That's more important than that because that's my 1/4 inch seam allowance that it's trying to mess with here. And I'm not going to tolerate that. Not going to tolerate that. Okay. I've got a little problem here on this one. This is what I was talking to you about stuff being off. See that? See how that's off in the green? Okay. I'm going to straighten that out. So I'm just going to use a little mat and my rotary cutter. I do not want to change the integrity of the shape. So I'm making sure I'm going to put this corner on a line of the mat and this corner down here on the line of the mat. All right. So I've got the corner straight. I'm going to hold my ruler straight. And I'm just going to get that little bit that decided to be weird. Okay. There. Nothing wrong with that so long as you don't change the size of the block. And I did not do that. Okay. So that's better. That's a better base shape line. Okay. You'll have that sometimes because you're sewing on the bias. Things happen. Don't let it bother you. Just kind of make it work. Okay. Now for the secondary blocks, get those going. Whoop. That didn't work. Okay. Well, Deborah, I'm glad you're gaining confidence. Yeah, if you can sew clothes, you can quilt. You know, a lot of times the quilt police, that you'll hear them and see them out there, and they'll make you feel intimidated about starting, but don't be. If you can set in a sleeve and an arm's eye, you can quilt. Believe me, it ain't that hard. There's just little techniques that you got to do, just like in garment sewing. And I'm pretty much teaching those techniques here with, you know, what I'm telling you, maintain the integrity of the base shape, that kind of thing. Make sure that you leave room for the turn of cloth. This yellow one's off too. I'll fix that in a second. What happened to my other pink square? Where'd it go? I lost a square. Here it is. Oh. The piece with the mark. Yeah, it's really easy to get intimidated. I know. But it doesn't have to be that hard. Oh, y'all, Joy Bernhardt just texted me a picture of that quilt that I'm making. She's got it draped over her long arm. It's gorgeous. Oh my goodness. That thing's above. Cutting scares you. I did a video the other day on cutting. Yesterday, I think. Don't let it. That's gorgeous, Joy. If you're watching. I don't know if she is or not. All right, and my secondary blocks. Okay. Looks good. Frito needs another treat. No. I got her some more of those little non-rawhide things. That's what I gave her this morning. She put it down. She didn't like it. It was $5 out the window. That dog. Okay. So there's 16 more half square triangles all done. Okay, here we go. Yeah, my mom's a pickle. She won't even use a smartphone. She has a flip phone. Refuses to use a smartphone. So I can't text her or anything. It's very annoying. And she hasn't set up her voicemail box. So, you know, catching her is whenever. Yeah. I wish she'd text. Oh, my goodness. That would be so much better. She won't have it. to cut this off. Okay. Poor Frito. Frito's fine. That dog, she put on a little weight while we were at Coshada because Keith felt bad for her being in the bus all by herself, so he overfed her. She got a little broad in the beam. Somebody actually called her fat. I like watching Joy too. Joy's the reason I started my channel. So here are another 8. I did a total of 16 half square triangles, just like that. Boom, done. See how easy that was? What am I making on Thursday? I think we're going to make the little magnets. Yeah. It's a thing. It's a surprise. I got to play with them today, make sure they work. I haven't played with them yet. Okay, here we go. We're going to sew. We're going to do some ironing. Okay. Now these need to finish up at the same size you started with. Okay, so y'all need to make sure that the block is the same size. Maintain the integrity of the base shape. Okay. Whatever size you started with is the size you should finish with. A lot of people ask about my iron. This is a Sapporo 527 gravity fed iron. I bet you I've had this thing for 10 years. And this pink thing right here next to it is, it's an IV pole, and it's got the water bottle on it. And I managed to melt this hose the other week and had a little Niagara Falls going on in here. But I got more hose in. I just haven't put it on. I need to get that done. Oh, this is so pretty. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Perfect, perfect. Love it. There's my 1/4 inch seams on the side. See that? Very nice. I'm giving you all the tricks for the 1/4 inch seam. I recommend, if you're scared of cutting, get out some ugly fabric, okay? Get out some fabric, maybe just start cutting. Maybe it's good fabric and you want to cut 2.5 inch strips. You're not going to get any better by just staring at it, okay? Get into it and cut it, and it's okay. It's just fabric. If you cut it wrong, it's no big deal. You can always make something else out of it. I do not recommend, if you're terrified of cutting, I don't recommend starting out with a $300 quilt kit. That's not a good idea. Okay. All right. If that's all you've got, you need to go to Hobby Lobby and go get some junk fabric and cut on that. And just get it. Just start cutting some strips, cut some squares, and then donate whatever you've cut if you don't want to keep it. You can do that. But you need to get yourself some fabric where you don't have any fear, okay? And just practice. I know you're all excited to cut into your pretty fabric, but all right, I've got a little bit of a wobble up here. That's not that big of a deal, okay? Because I can make that go away. That's going to be in the seam allowance. All right, so we're ready to put these together now. It's awesome. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, that seam roll gives you a flatter seam. Thank you. Yeah, it sure does. So there is a school of thought in the quilting world about pressing your seams open. And as a rule, I don't. The whole point of pressing your seams open is to reduce bulk. So instead of having 2 layers or 3 layers of fabric here, you only would have 2, okay? But you're creating a weak seam when you press your seams open, because literally, and you know this when you sew garments, you press your seams open, right? So you look and you can see daylight through there. And the only thing holding those 2 pieces of fabric and giving it any kind of strength is a couple of pieces of thread. I don't like that. That's just me personally. I don't like it. Now, that said, I did press, where'd that square go? I press the seams open on this block, but these seams, look how many layers down they are. Okay. So I press those open because of the bulk. But underneath here at this juncture where all of these meet, there are how many layers of fabric? 2 in this seam, 2 in this, and then the one. So there's, actually, there's 6 layers of fabric right there. So I don't mind that that's pressed open on that one. That's not going to bother the strength of the seam. I don't like pressing my seams open when it's just one, just 2 pieces of fabric together and you press them open. Plus, seams that are pressed open are very, very hard to nest. That's just me. Some people live and die by pressing their seams open. That's spam. Some people live and die by pressing their seams open, and that's fine. Okay. You do you, boo. That's good. But me, not going to do it. All right. So now I need to get this together. Y'all, I got to show you. So Joy said, here is one which is the 6 churches. So this is what Joy sent me. Very nice. See that? Look at that. Very nice. Pretty, pretty. Love it. It's gorgeous. She did a great job on that. Beautiful. Yep. All right. So now I need to get these together. And which way do we have it? I'm going to lay these out. We got yellow and then the dark here and the green up here and the peach right there. Okay, good. That'll work. I can copy like a mad fool, y'all. Okay. So I'm going to sew these together just like this. Put these just like that. And I'm going to match my little white points and make sure. Now, because this fabric is on the diagonal, I'm going to pin straight. Usually I pin on the diagonal, but that's for straight seams. So I'm going to pin straight. And I think I'm going to pin on both sides of that seam because that's making that interior square and a square again. Yeah, you're not late. Yep. This is my weekly live sew along. Okay. And I'm going to pin the bottom edge together so that, why am I reaching? I'm going to pin the bottom edge together so that they don't dance around and the feed dogs ease in one shorter than the other. Okay. I'm going to start them together. And I'm going to stitch and hit those points. Go slow over those pins. And hopefully I hit it. I mentioned this earlier in this morning's video. So you want to start at 1/4 of an inch here and end at 1/4 of an inch here. If you have to hit your points, if you have to go in farther than 1/4 of an inch, that's okay. Just make a gradual slope back out. You can fix this in here in the middle with steam or moisture if you spray your block and block it, but you want to have your 1/4 inches correct at the top and bottom, okay? Another way to do this is to take your pin and come out the point and go in at the point of the next of its partner. Line it up and get that pin horizontal. Hold it tight And I'm going to go in and out both sides. Matching points. I hate tipping my points. That drives me crazy. Okay. And then you can also mark where that pin is. So you can give yourself a little spot to aim for. You can do that. Nothing wrong at all. Don't feel like you're cheating, because you're not. It's better to have your little techniques that work for you. You do you, right? Okay. Matching these little points like this is it's a challenge. It can be a real challenge. So every little bit that you can do to help you along is fine. So I use 2 different methods to sew those. Let's see which ones work best. All right. Here's where I just kind of eyeballed the points. It's pretty good. That's all right. Can't complain. That'll work. Okay. And then this one. Not bad. It's a little dull. The tips are a little bit dull. So it's like they could be, okay. So my points are a little dull. I can't see the little point of each one of those fabrics. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to take it apart and resew it. I'm going to, from about middle, I'm going to sew it again, and I'm going to do another seam right here to about the middle on the down below it. And then I'm going to take out those stitches that are causing the problem. So there's no reason to take it all apart again. You don't have to. So long as you cross over your stitch lines where you start and stop, that'll lock them together and everything will be fine. And then you can kind of pull this open. Aha. And that's it. And get your points. See that? Much better. Okay. Much better. All right. And I'm going to sew these, pressing the seams different directions. Let's see which way these want to go so that they nest. Alrighty. Yeah, that's much prettier. Much, much prettier. Got little threads I got to pull out of there. That turned out really pretty. Okay. Like this. This one's pressed toward me, so this one can press away. Very nice. And here we go. This looks good. Very pretty. And then I'm going to nest center seams first. You always start. I like to start in the center. That's just me. It's just easier, I think. Since this is a straight seam, I'm going to pin on the diagonal 45 in one side of the seam allowance and out the other. Okay, and now I need to do these. So I'm going to go in the point. I do this method because I've got more seam allowance on the bottom than I do the top fabrics, squares, and I don't trust my 1/4 inch. So I'm going to do this. And I just need to make sure that I hit that point. Okay. I can see it right there. And again, that looks good to that one. Okay, hold it horizontal, nice and tight, and anchor those together. Mark it. Okay. Okay. I got a little bubble here. See my bubble? We'll see if that goes away. If it doesn't go away, I'll show you a trick. Okay. Betty Boop is full of great ideas. She's one of the smartest quilters I know. Okay. Oh, Betty Boop, I found Juan Hernandez. He's in Wiesbaden, Germany. Been looking for him. Okay. I set matte on it. All right, so there's that nest. One stitch over that pin. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this. I don't think so. Okay, because I've got this bubble over here in the back. I've got a bubble. I'm going to show you guys how to fix that. I'm going to go ahead and stitch the seam, get the points locked together, go a couple stitches past it. I did a tiny back stitch. Okay, so you see that bubble? You want bigger on bottom, baggy on bottom. I'm going to let the feed dogs do their thing. So now I'm going to take this pin out and flip it over. This stuff happens, guys, because you're sewing with bias and you never know what's going to happen. So I'm going to pin that back. And now I'm going to sew it by flipping it. Okay. And it's going to ease in that bubble. And it'll be perfect. Garment sewing trick. All right. And it did it. Ta-da. No bubbles, no ripples. Perfect, perfect. Okay. The magnet project, Dave. Corey Yoder did some, she's got a pattern for some quilted magnets, and we're going to do it with the embroidery machine. All right, here we go. So, whoop, wrong camera. Here we go. Okay. So that matched perfectly right there. And my nest is pretty, pretty. And it turned out beautiful over here too. So picking out seams is my cardio. I love that. That's a great t-shirt. I think that's awesome. Okay. That's a good saying. Picking out seams is my cardio. I could see somebody walking around a quilt show with that. Funny, funny. This turned out beautiful, y'all. Just beautiful. Love it, love it. So see, just because something doesn't lay exactly perfect, there are little workarounds that you can do to make it work. And you're going to get a beautiful block. So pretty. That turned out just gorgeous. Isn't that nice? I love it. All right. Well, this is awesome. Let's put it up on the board. Let's put it up on the design board. Start another little row. I love this. I guess I'll put it over here. Hold on. I got to step over my internet cable and get behind my long arm. Okay. So we'll put it up here. Oh, that's beautiful. No, I want this way. I want yellow on top. Not that it matters, because I'll be taking it down and when we put the quilt all together. Okay. Awesome. Oh, you can't see it for the lights. Sorry. But it's coming along. Look at that. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with me. This has been a fun hour and productive. Got 10 blocks done. Isn't that great? For those of you that haven't started, that's okay. Go press your fabric. Do some cutting. Just cut. So I cut all 4 of the blocks at one time and put them into one of these trays, or you can put them into little Ziplocs or whatever you need. Put them on a paper plate. Okay. Just put them all together in one little bunch and then just start working your way through it. So, all right. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I will see you next week, and we're going to start the 5 blocks all over again with another block. So I hope your Brightly Sampler's coming along. Thank you again. I'll talk to you guys soon. Go sew something, and I'll see you in the morning. How about a thumbs up? Oh, if you're sitting on your couch, grab your TV remote and hit the channel up button. That gives me a thumbs up. Thank you. Bye.